In this video, we're going to be going through the song Nothing I Hold On To and the tag of Climb by Reagan and United Pursuit. So that first verse is going to sound something like this. And I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the maker of heaven. And I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hand of the maker of heaven. Alright, so this song, it's only 3 chords. It's in the key of G, so we don't need any capo unless you want to play around with the specific key of the song based on, your range. If you sing higher or lower, or you can always experiment with the capo up here on the fretboard. But for this song, it's just in the key of G. The chords we need, 3 chords. We need the G chord. We need the C chord. And then we need the E minor chord. So for this lesson, the first part, I want to just teach you the song, teach you some basic strumming, some basic rhythm, strumming patterns for this song. And then at the end, I also want to go through just a couple of different things you can do, maybe different chord variations, like instead of playing this C here, you play this C here. It's a little bit kind of bigger, and songs where you're only having 3 chords in them, sometimes it's nice to mix up the chord voicing. So I want to go over that, and then also I want to go over some finger picking that you can do on the first verse in the chorus. It's really pretty using these basic chords, the regular chords, and then also using some different chord voicings. So something like, and I lean not on my own understanding, that E minor. My life is in the hands of the maker of heaven. So we'll get into some of that at the end of this lesson. We're going to be going through the first verse and then the first chorus initially. So I'm going to have the chords and the lyrics up on the screen. So if you need to print these off, write some strum patterns, if you need to download them into a PDF, whatever you need to do, these are on my Patreon page. So the link for that is in the description down below if you need them as a resource. So Patreon. So for the first verse, this is really soft. We're going to keep it soft. We're going to keep it open, just starting with some down strums. And I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hand of the maker of heaven. And I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the maker of heaven. So as you can hear, I'm not playing super hard. I'm literally just kind of grazing some of these strings, mainly up top. It's a very soft intro, like the first part of the song. So we're not doing anything my own understand. It's just nice and soft. So, and I 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And I'm just adding a little, so it's basically 8 down strums on each chord, and I'm just adding a little flick, a little up flick after each 8 down strums as I transition to the next chord. It kind of gives it a nice little bit of rhythm. So, and down. Maker of heaven. So do the same thing for the chorus. Same down strum, same number. And I give it all to you, God. trusting that you'll make something beautiful out of me. And I give it all to you, God, trusting that you'll make something beautiful out of me. So that's it. I mean, you're basically just following the same chord progression, the same strumming for verse 1 and chorus. So if we wanted to add a slightly more rhythmic strum pattern that we can get into later on in the song, it would be this. Down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up. And if you wanted to start the whole song off with that, you totally could. So going through verse 1 and the chorus 1, it would sound like this. And I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the maker of heaven. And I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the maker of heaven. And I give it all to you, God, trusting that you'll make something beautiful out of me. And I give it all to you, God, trusting that you'll make something beautiful out of me. So eventually we'll get into bridge 1, which is just the climb part, the tag part of this song, and it's same thing. So we can stick with that down strum pattern. We can maybe build it up a little bit to add that second strum pattern in there. So that would sound like this. And I will climb this mountain with my hands wide open. I will climb this mountain with my hands wide open. I will climb this mountain with my hands wide open. I will climb this mountain with my hands wide open. I will climb this mountain with my hands wide open. I will climb this mountain with my hands wide open. I will climb this mountain with my hands wide open. I will climb this mountain with my hands wide. There's nothing I hold on to. 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 Just going through bridge 2 here. Hold on to. Bring it down a little bit. There's nothing I hold on to. There's nothing I hold on to. There's nothing I hold on to. So that kind of shows you the second half of the song, the climb part, bridge 1, which I'm calling bridge 1, and then bridge 2, which is the nothing I hold on to part. So hopefully that gives you an idea. I mean, really pretty simple. The chords don't ever change. The strumming pattern and the timing of this song really never changes. You're just adding some more dynamics and some bigger strums and some different strum patterns as the song builds. So that shows you what you can do just with the basic kind of strumming. A couple other things I wanted to show you before we get into the finger picking is you can do some hammer-ons, like to that E minor. I'm just hammering on. I've done a lesson on this a while ago. I'll include a link for that up top. And then maybe that C chord, a hammer on and a pull off. So something like, and I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hand of the maker of heaven. So you can do little hammer-ons and pull-offs like that throughout the song. I always say I wouldn't recommend doing a hammer-on like on every single chord. It's just too much. But if you want to just kind of give the song a different feel and add a little bit of dynamics in there, just throw in maybe a hammer-on or a pull-off every once in a while. It just kind of gives it a nice little touch. All right, so let's get into finger picking and maybe using some of those additional chord variations and chord voicings. So let's start with just a basic picking pattern. I'm gonna be in my finger picking position here on the right-hand side. I've done a full-blown finger picking lesson on this a long time ago. I'll link it up top, but Cliff Notes version of that is my thumb up here is assigned to the top 3 strings. And I'm gonna pluck the string based on the bass note of the chord. My pointer finger always gonna be locked into that G string. Middle finger always gonna be locked in to that B string. And then I've got my ring finger and pinky finger just kind of locked in, stabilizing this position. And I can use that ring finger to pick that high E string if I want to. So if we wanted to do just a really simple pattern for the first verse, you could just do thumb, pointer, middle, pointer, pretty much for every chord. So that would sound like this. I'll add the singing here for verse 1. So, and I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the maker of heaven. And I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the maker of heaven. Now one thing you could do, instead of just picking that bass note twice, so you're doing, you can either pluck it really lightly that second time through or don't pluck it at all. It kind of gives it a little bit more space and maybe, I don't know, maybe some dissonance. So something like this. And I... And if that is a little bit hard for you to do without doing that second pluck on the thumb, I would just do a really light like graze on that low E string the second time through. That way it keeps you in your rhythm and it keeps you kind of in that pattern. So then lastly, if we wanted to add just some fun chord voicings in here, and I'm not going to go through the exact details of every single chord because I've done a lesson on this before, really breaking it down. I'll link it up top. But basically, instead of playing this C chord here, we could play this C chord here. Instead of playing, or we could actually do this C chord here. Instead of playing this E minor, we can play this E minor here. And when you're doing these chords, you can keep this ring finger on this string right here, that B string, and just kind of be sliding it all over. It does make this C chord here a little bit hard to get to, so sometimes I'll put my pinky finger on that string and it makes it just easier. I'll use my pinky finger and my pointer finger for that C chord, it just makes the stretch a little bit easier. For me, like sometimes getting to that C chord there, it's a little awkward. So you can always do. So just playing through that pattern, the verse. And I lean not on my life is in the hand. And I lean not on my life is in the hand. All right, so that's a lot to unpack there. 3 chords, simple song, many ways you can play it, many ways you can strum it, many ways you can pick it. So I hope that helps you out. Again, if you need the chord charts for this song to print or to download or use as a resource, they're on my Patreon page. So definitely check that out if you need it as a resource. And let me know if you have any questions or concerns or comments or anything like that. All right, love y'all. See you in the next one.